We're going to talk about the astrology of Ariana Maddox, Tom Sandoval, Raquel, Rachel Levis, and this moment in time when they are embroiled in the biggest scandal in the Bravo universe, probably since It's Not About Tom. Okay, Sarah, take it away.
Okay, so first and foremost, great guessing off the bat, non-astrologer Sandy Smith. You said first, Ariana has big Virgo energy, and indeed she does. She is a Virgo moon. She is a Cancer sun, Virgo moon. So what does this mean? This means that of course, she was going to like appear to be nurturing new young Raquel. Of course, she's going to be warm to her. Of course, you can stay in my house. What's really going on inside is that she is keeping up perfection appearances. So she may have not been having sex with Tom for whatever amount of time. And she may have known that it was halfway done, but like, it's like in her mind, I think it's like, we're on a TV show together. We put out a book together. We got a house together. So I am going to be almost the martyr for this relationship because we've done so much publicly that looks a certain way. And it's now my job to keep that going.
Can I say something about the house together? I think this might be controversial, and I can now, seeing that she's a Virgo, it makes more sense why she did this. I don't think it's a good idea to buy a house with someone you're not married to.
By the way, they also remortgaged the house to pay for the restaurant that is now failing.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
So
sorry, I
bad.
forgot to mention that.
Okay, it's not controversial. It's common sense.
Common sense. Yep.
If a guy won't put a ring on it, or whoever you're dating won't,
it was her. She wouldn't marry him. He was more than happy to propose for many years.
Okay,
So
well, that's
all
a red
kinds
flag.
of messed up. Yeah,
like they don't sink your life savings into a gigantic purchase with a person who you're not comfortable being married, civil partner, domestic partnered with. You need that legal protection so that when you do break up, you can take it to the judge and you can 100%. Say, hey, this guy owes me all the money that went into this stupid ass restaurant that my name isn't on. And now that they're breaking up, obviously, and they have to divide the house and divide, like it's not going to do her any favors. And I feel for her because seeing that she's a Virgo, it's like, okay, she has this very strict code that she goes by. I don't want to get married. I don't want to have kids. But then it seems like she is kind of equivocating and trying to do what he wants to do also. And now there goes her life savings. Jesus Christ.
They might not divide assets. They might end up dividing debt.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, worst case scenario.
Ariana, get a book
No.
Now.
Her dog of 18 years also just died.
Jesus.
And Virgo
it just keeps getting worse.
Virgo rules pets. So this is a particularly difficult moment for her. And like also just thinking about the astrological context, just for the record, we're in Pisces season. Saturn just moved into Pisces. Actually, today, as we speak, the sun is conjunct Neptune and Mercury in Pisces. So all of this is opposing all of this Pisces, like let it dissolve. The truth is where she's at in her chart is that she is meant to release, dissolve, let go of this whole storyline, because there actually is something. I mean, her Venus and her North Node, so her life's purpose is connected to the exact degree to her Venus. So she's actually here to learn. She's learning a tough lesson about love, protecting your money, protecting your heart. Right. Like she wanted, I think Tom and this show and all of this, she has a fantasy of being like sort of the goddess, a part of this sort of royal power couple. She wants to give and receive money and food, and she wants to be like in the restaurant game. And that isn't not being married and not, trusting him fully, I guess. But like I think she saw investing in the restaurant and in the home with him as a declaration of her love. But what she was actually doing was living out she has her Saturn in Scorpio. She's learning a lesson of who you actually merge finances with, who you actually bond with. That's where her South Node is. So she's actually, we are witnessing her learning this hard lesson about you can't protect yourself by getting close to the enemy. You actually have to just go protect yourself. And it's two different things. And now what's also interesting is that since August, Mars has been in the sign of Gemini. Then from October to January, it went retrograde. Then in January, it moved direct again. So this whole long Mars in Gemini transit has been basically like there were 3 passes to her Chiron in Gemini. So starting in August, and still continuing, what is being Mars activated, triggered, is her wound in Gemini partnerships and,
Oh my
and
God.
mirrors.
Starting when? August?
Mhm.
So does that line up with when we think the cheating started? Sandy.
In August, we think it started. July is the assumption.
Okay.
But,
So
but I think
yeah.
sooner because Coachella's in like March, April.
Well, it could have been that too. I mean, Mars, before it was in Gemini, was in Taurus with Uranus and the North Node, and her Venus and North Node. So really, like, this whole like spring into now is for her to get this lesson that she has been not protecting her heart, that she's in the wrong partnership. Mars is going to move into Cancer at the end of this month, where her Sun, Mars, and Mercury are. So we're going to see that there's going to be more of I think she's going to go way more internal. I could see her deciding to take whatever action she's going to take, but I could see her sort of retreating into herself a bit while Mars is in Cancer, because I think what's been going on is that there's been a little bit, if I were to guess based on the astrology, I would guess that there was like sort of a denial of the truth in whatever way. And I think now she's like kind of loving the social media spotlight, because she's, even though like, so Mars is in Gemini, so she's still kind of enjoying like heavily communicating about this. She's enjoying being put with right partners and people that support her. Team Ariana, the hashtag, she loves it. A Cancer loves that. But then I think towards the end of the month, we may see, especially because now Saturn is going to oppose her moon, I think we're going to see her take some time to herself, and she's going to have to reckon with the fact that she's actually to blame here too.
How so?
She knew what she was getting into, who she was getting into it with, and she didn't actually protect her assets on any level.
Right. Wow. So, okay. What do you think now that she's lost her life savings, maybe? And this show, I mean, I guess the show is reviving itself at least, but what do you think her ultimate destiny is, either professionally or romantically, based on this chart?
Well, it's hard without the houses, but I think that her destiny, like regardless of career, is North Node and Venus in Taurus. She is meant to actually like settle into a life where she actually is queen, and where she is taken care of, and where she is just in right relationship, and she's protected, and she can eat that yummy savory food, and maybe doesn't even have to work at the restaurant, you know, like, so that I think is part of it. I mean, it would be interesting to see if she goes back to stand up or comedy now, because she does have she finally, I mean, I think part of the annoying thing about doing comedy now, period, is that all the fucking, like, if you're a Bravo star, or if you have a big podcast like you started years ago and now you want to do comedy. I mean, one of the Bachelorettes is now like touring doing stand-up comedy. Like now
Right.
There's just this whole trend of like, you don't need to be a comedian to do stand-up comedy. You need to be a celebrity. And people, Luann, all the housewives have like big shows, and how was it? So funny. It's like, oh, okay. So I actually think that long term she could play this, also play it right. And now she's got tons of material to talk about. Everybody wants to kind of hear the hot goss. And if she can
What's
do
to
it with
root for her?
punchlines, she could be really taking back her power here with Virgo moon, with her words, with her language.
She needs to book a tour ASAP. She needs to book a tour and get a book deal while this is hot. Like
she should capitalize on this. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
But if she's as real as she's portrayed herself to be, she's packing her shit and going home after this. And I hope
Fine,
she's
just go to the mics.
very wealthy,
go to the open
beautiful
mics.
woman that treats her like the queen she is, and she lives very happily. But 10 years in reality TV, don't you guys think that's like enough? That should be kind of like a normal person's limit. You're completely detached after that.
Nothing's enough for these people. They don't have a normal like, if you read, I'm sure you read Not All Diamonds and Rosé, Sandy, like the recurring theme.
Of course.
Yeah, the recurring theme is like, all of these people would go back on if they said, like, they would be on set in 5 minutes if they got the call again from Bravo, like the housewives that get kicked off or fired or who quit. Like, everyone wants to go back on these shows. It's addictive. So
you're
like
chasing the dragon, and like, where does that get you?
Well, but so that's why I'm saying, I don't think
but I don't think she wants to give it up.
I don't think she's necessarily going to go back on reality TV, but I think if what came out of this was a stand-up tour, a podcast, and some kind of like a book deal of some kind, like, I think she
and her sandwich shop.
And her sandwich shop, like, she can use this to like pivot into I think that's kind of the point. Like the point of cutting your teeth in reality TV for 10 years is that regardless of what happens when you're there, it's unlikely that it would actually hurt your business long term in any way, because really visibility is that kind of visibility you can't pay for. It's like, if Molly and I went and trashed each other on reality TV, we would have tons of patrons and be on stand-up comedy tour already.
We'd be doing arenas. Like,
Right.
and because we actually have jokes. So like these people who just have barely anything, like they just have a following, they book tours, like they book theaters. It's crazy. So okay, let's get to the next person. Who do we do
next? Raquel next, so we can just trash her quickly.
We absolutely can. And you guys, spoiler alert, there is an unbelievable through line in all these charts. So let's just take a look at Raquel.
I loved also, as a side note, when Sandy sent us the birth dates of all three of these people, I immediately clocked, oh, let me guess, he cheated on the one who's 10 years younger.
Right, no shit.
That's what they do.
Yep. Right when you sent it to me, because I didn't even ever see what their names before, the first thing that came to my mind was, this blame Sandoval instead of blame Canada. I was thinking blame Sandoval, Tom Sandoval. Okay. So what is Raquel, aka Rachel, if you grew up with her, Levis? She is a Virgo sun.
What?
Conjunct Chiron.
Same as Ariana.
Well, Ariana's a Virgo moon. So they have, so Ariana inside is Raquel on the outside, right? So what's going on inside of Ariana, we're seeing through, or Raquel presents more like what's actually going on with Ariana, whereas Raquel's inside, she's a wild bitch. She is, in fact, a Sagittarius moon. So yeah, of course she's bro hopping, and of course she's down to just like get her ass on reality TV and be that wild one, because she does whatever the fuck she wants, and call it love addiction, affection addiction, or what. I actually think she is sowing your wild oats as a Sag moon is part of the process,
Yeah, Sagittarius is probably the sign least likely to have like a moral code, right?
Sort of. I mean, either, unless moral code is like their truth. Like, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It depends on your version of a moral code. Sagittarius and Pisces are the most spiritual signs, which also means that they're the most, how do I put it? I mean, they're mutable signs. They're changeable signs. So they're the ending and beginning of something new. So it's very changeable. But what happens with Sagittarius, less Pisces, more Sagittarius is the most righteous sign. So whatever Sagittarius thinks is right, whatever the moral code is, it has to feel like true for them. And if it's true for them and they're following their code, then yeah, they can convince themselves of fucking everything. And like, don't fight with the Sagittarius moon, because they're going to go hard for what they feel is the truth with the capital T, even if it's way off.
I don't think Rachel has a code. I think she's a fucking idiot. And I don't think there's a whole lot going on up there.
She can justify anything to herself.
Her code is get on. She's an adopted pageant girl who aged out of pageants. I actually think she does have a code, which is, I am an idiot. I don't know what I'm going to get paid for. So,
and I need a man to hold on to.
Well, that's like a framework of her life. It's not a moral code. Like, it's not about, she doesn't care about being a good person, obviously. Like she cares. About self-advancement. Like, it's not a moral code, because
that sort of is Sagittarius in a way, but it's less about moral or not moral, but it's like she feels justified doing all of these things because in her mind, this is part of her track.
Hate that.
Now, what's interesting for Raquel is that this is the big lesson of her life, because her Saturn is in Pisces. So she just started her Saturn return. It's no shock that this is all coming out when we have Mercury, the Sun, and Neptune all in Pisces on her Saturn. This is her Saturn return.
We need to reiterate that, because that's crazy. Raquel's Saturn return has just started. So like she's finally getting her comeuppance for clearly just leading this like fame-seeking life. She's been this way probably since she was a kid, and now the chickens are coming home to roost. So that does make me think there's hope for her, because your Saturn return is when you learn those lessons and process them. And that makes me think that, like, yeah, if she does lean into the romance with Sandoval, this could, they're going to build the whole show around them.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. And for the record, her Venus is conjunct her Jupiter and her North Node in Scorpio. Like, she kind of is meant to, like, first of all, Venus in Scorpio, her heart loves, like, not like loves pain, but there's sort of Venus in Scorpio is a little bit like I do think the joy of their life was like sneaking around, because there's something about the secrecy and the withholding of, it can't be all the time, or it can't be like, it'll be interesting to see what happens with this relationship if it does become part of the mundane for them, because I do think that her, or even like if she's doing this thing now where it's like, we're not speaking because like I'm deciding whether or not to sue him for revenge porn or whatever, that withholding of being with him makes her want it more. Scorpio moons like love what they like sort of can't have, and when they have it, they want to like devour it completely. Like, it's sort of this like, it's an interesting Venus placement. But yeah, I think not only is she now getting the ultimate lesson of the whole purpose of her first 28 years of ancient remembering, but her Saturn is opposite her Chiron and her sun. So this wounding, or not this wounding, this lesson is going to show in public, because it's opposite her sun with her Chiron. It's going to show her wound is now on blast, her woundedness, it's wounding her even that she's being seen as a villain.
Wait, right? Where's her Chiron again?
Conjunct, like right next to her sun, you see?
So her Chiron's in Virgo. So like her wound is like the fact that she doesn't have a moral code.
Sort of, yeah. Her fact is that she finally got like into the public eye, and then it's like, and as a Virgo, you want everyone to like, she got the nose job. You want everyone to think that you're perfect. You want everyone to like you. You want everybody to know that you're like, they're of service. Like, of course, she's the one working at the restaurant, but then low key, because of what she's doing in her unbridled, unrestrained Sagittarius moon, shady, behind the scenes shit, she's now, her Saturn opposing her wound and her sun. It's basically been like, hey, you need to literally check yourself before you wreck yourself, because you're like your reckless abandon of like boundaries or rules is actually giving you a horrible reputation. And either this is going to turn into your superpower. I think you're right, Sandy. Like, if you lean into the love, but if not, this could land you with a reputation that absolutely haunts you for the rest of your life. If, Chiron conjunct the sun, there is a wound about who you are as a person and how people see you. And, anytime that you see Chiron conjunct the sun, not only can that become somebody's ultimate like healing power, where she becomes like long term, I could see her becoming someone who like goes totally behind the scenes she goes home, gets depressed and fat for a few years, then gets it together, goes to grad school, becomes like a therapist for people who were adopted and are now looking for love in all the wrong places, or something like that. Like something like, I could see her actually just having like a private practice of some kind, and like writing books and like hearkening back to her days of this, not even ghostwriting. She'll have a ghostwriter, but like there's something about like this wound and this wounding that is going to define her character for the rest of her life. And she can either make that something that she wants to curl up and die about, or she can build her flag on wounded wounder, and try to do that in a way. But either way, what she cares about is looking perfect. Chiron conjunct the sun in Virgo and she's really feeling it for the first time, like for real, because she's like, oh my God, like I thought the wounding was because I was adopted, or because I'm my age, I can't do pageants, that hurts. No, it's that who you are as a person is now being questioned by everyone on TV 24/7 because of what an asshole you've been.
And we've all seen her pap walk outfits. Like her team was like, no makeup, baseball cap, sweatshirt, sweatpants, don't you dare look cute. Because, I think her inclination would be like, I don't look so good because everyone's talking about me. And her team is like, sorry, honey, you're going to have to look like shit for a few days.
That's a nightmare
really
for
sell
her.
this. Yeah.
Virgo sun conjunct Chiron, that hurts. That hurts.
Do you know what I was just thinking? And this is a complete side note. Being adopted seems like the best way to have like a completely guilt-free nose job, because you're not
dishonoring anyone.
Yeah, you're not really like erasing a heritage that you really, I mean, it depends how you feel about your birth parents, but like if you don't know them or care about them, it's just like, fuck this nose. And you're never going to see it again. You're never going to look at that nose again. So
her nose was actually fixed by Adrian Malouf's ex-husband, Paul Nassif, of Botched. Yeah.
Wow. Love him. So, I mean, this all makes complete sense. My question is for Sarah, when she gets back, because she's just left the frame, how can a Sagittarius moon clean themselves up? I mean, being a Virgo sun and a Sagittarius moon sounds like just a nightmare in and of itself, because like, it's kind of like me being a Capricorn Pisces, because you have this real, you know, like the world sees you as this person who's got it all together. And then like beneath the surface, you're just kind of a fucking mess. And like, how do you reconcile that? So how can she honor her Sagittarius moon while cleaning up her act, I guess is my question.
I think 2 ways. Way number 1 is eat, pray, love, adventure, where you like take yourself into like the whole thing, the thing that Sag and Virgo energy has in common is that it's very mercurial. It's very much about like learning and fixing and sort of coming into like mastery of. There's sort of 2 signs that represent, you know, after Virgo comes after Leo, which is like, okay, cute performance, so we need to clean this up. And then, you know, Sagittarius comes after Scorpio, which is like cute feelings, but we need to go party. Like we need to just like release some of this and lighten it up. So I could see her having some kind of like what Sagittarian moon need, what Sagittarius always is wanting and needing is adventure, is like new experiences, is higher learning, higher belief systems, higher religion. I think if she uses this as a genuine learning opportunity, and then she can become either like an expert on the matter or like rise above it somehow. And then all we hear from her is that she's like living in Paris, like doing some, you know, I don't know, she's at an ashram in India, like
hooking up with the
like
prime minister instead of just a random bartender or whatever.
Yeah, I think but I think ultimately what she's going to have to do is go on a journey, an adventure of like learning about herself. And I think she could cash out on sharing more of the like deeper inner truth that she discovers and becoming sort of an expert in like good girls gone bad reformed, if anything. Or she doubles down on, I don't take it back. This is who I am. I follow my heart. That's why I do think, even though from a PR perspective, it does seem like the only move other than to just get married and have his kids is to say like, I'm a love addict. I sort of think, yeah, I agree. Like a Sag moon, if they really want what a Sag moon is going to do, no matter what, by the end, like she's still in her Saturn is just returning. So we're going to see her actual like emotional nature come out more and more and more, like, because as she gains more awareness. But I don't know. I think, how do you clean it up? You learn more, and then you become an expert on some topic through your adventures and through your learning, where you've come to some higher belief and you share that with people. And then you feel like the healer of that.
What if you are a person of dumb experience?
Okay.
It's a picture book. It's a picture book. It's a children's book.
I think what she went from an emotionally abusive relationship with James Kennedy to a relationship where she was emotionally abusing herself by effing her very good friend's boyfriend. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, so I think Tom Sandoval is being very sweet. I think he's very sweet to her. I think he's very complimentary of her, but she's getting the abuse that she needs, that she feels she deserves from herself, because she knows what she's doing is so wrong.
He's not being sweet to her.
I think he is. I think he is.
I think her hidden in a closet until the time is right for him to ruin her life.
No, it's a sexy closet, though. Molly, they're wearing matching necklaces.
I think
they wore matching lightning bolt necklaces together to show their love for each other. I think
that's terrible. That's not sweet passionate. When you. That's not sweet when the guy has a girlfriend. The secrecy
turns her on. Yeah, but the secrecy turns her on. It's not about how you think of it. She liked it. I'm
saying he's not sweet. I'm saying he's not a sweet person.
He's not. But to her, he's probably like, hey, I was thinking about you all day. Oh my gosh, I wish we could just be together. Nothing would make me happy.
Yeah. I think that's why she's taking I rebuke this, I'm a love addict approach, because I think she actually does think that he probably told her like, don't worry. Like, I'm the main guy of this show. I have 2 restaurants. I'm like this big dynamo. Like, I'm a power player. And like, whenever this comes out, I'm going to fix it and blah, blah, blah. And now it has completely gone out of control, out of either of their control. And so I think that might be part of why she feels so like betrayed by him, because I don't know, but that has nothing to do with anything. That's just based on my gut feeling.
A Sagittarius moon, of course, is going to send a lawyer letter about you recorded me without consent, because it isn't like a Sagittarius moon is grasping for things, especially when you're so in the wrong, where you're actually right. A Virgo Sagittarius actually ultimately wants to be right and wants to be the like teacher and the like sort of the leader of what's right. It's a very righteous chart. So I think the revenge porn, or I think the fact that he recorded her without her consent is a gift that is giving her some kind of platform to
moral high ground,
because otherwise she's acted so low that is like a great thing to have us focus on, because it's something that she can argue that she's right about. And I think a Sagittarius moon needs that more than anything.
Yeah, because it is a violation. But the other thing that she's now not looking in her she seems to have studied the Bravo playbook, but she didn't with this, because we know, especially in Beverly Hills, like, we do not like lawyer letters on this network. Like, it's sort of their little mob omerta that they don't send each other lawyer letters. And if you send someone a lawyer letter, you're kind of breaking the circle of trust of like, we're on a reality show and all is fair in love and war. So like, this is, even though I really feel for her, because I think,
oh, she's like an idiot 20 something.
Well, he violated her. Like,
they weren't filming at the time that this happened.
Right. But like, she's trying to do what she feels humiliated. And I understand why she's sending a lawyer letter to him and why she's panicking, because it's humiliating to know that there's footage of you masturbating that everyone you know has seen. That's
what are you wearing?
Oh.
Yeah, I was gonna say, those are
how's the lighting?
I wouldn't
that's
send
my
it
first
unless,
question.
I feel that every time I send something like that, it is leaking to the cloud and to the AI anyway. And so I'm pretty careful about making sure it's hot. But
no, like, jokes aside, it's a violation. It's terrible. And like, she's trying to set the record straight on that. But like, in doing that via lawyer letter, she's taken one more step into this group never accepting her again, because of the way that Bravo works and the way that the unwritten rules of reality television is you don't send the lawyer letters, you know?
It's kind of interesting that her Mercury is in Libra. Like, what is Mercury in Libra if not lawyer letters and as a way to communicate?
Yeah.
I do not mean to be buzzkilly. I have to go soonish.
Well, okay. Last but not least, we have
Tom. Can I transition you to Tom?
Please.
How we do? Sarah, can you please tell us something about Tom Scan them All's chart?
That was a great transition. Now, really interesting stuff. Kind of a blend between the two. Tom is a Cancer sun, like Ariana, and he is a Gemini moon opposite Raquel. So Tom and Ariana have the same sun, same Mars, same. Tom and Ariana are actually more similar than not. Both of their moons are ruled by mercurial signs. Gemini and Virgo are ruled by Mercury. So these are very compatible charts, actually. But Raquel's moon opposite his moon. I mean, the thing about Gemini moons is that they are a little bit two-sided inside. So it's not necessarily projected out into the world, but these are highly changeable inner beings. These are people that can go from happy to sad in like 2 seconds. They can be obsessed with something one day and then hate it the next day. They're flip, they flop, whoever they're talking to, they kind of change what they're doing so that they mirror it. I think that what was happening with Tom and Ariana is that it was genuinely boring. I think that they were both bored as shit. And I think because their charts aren't that dissimilar, but I think that she was like, yeah, that's what happens in relationships. I think, and we have a book, we have a house, like I'm in domestic bliss. It's fine if we don't have sex. Who even cares? Like, I think Raquel, like, as this opposite moon to his moon, offered him this like other option. Also, the passion that she that she felt for him and that she shared for him, I think it sort of turned him on in a way that actually, I think, because both he and Ariana have wounds in Gemini. I think that, and his North Node is in Gemini. So he actually is here to kind of like try out a bunch of different storylines and sort of find out who he wants to be in the world, around him.
That's why all the facial hair and the stupid outfits and the Johnny Depp
aspiring
cosplay.
Music career.
Yes, right. All the different things that he does. But that Chiron, I think he may have felt that in every relation, this is literally speculation, but based on the astrology, I might venture to guess that he has a thing where like in every relationship, he just ultimately does get bored, or he ultimately does like not feel like it's an actually like equal, even with Tom and Tom, they have the same name in a restaurant named Tom and Tom, he still doesn't feel like you're my like equal match. And so I think that he in Raquel, it's not that she's his equal match, but I think she makes him feel more pumped up than any of the other partners have so far. And he not only really kind of like likes that, that's exciting, but all this Cancer men, that's why I remember we did our White Lotus episode that probably no one listened to because it was like backwards somehow. But remember I was talking about Dom, like why I guess like he's a Cancer, because Cancer men are actually like at best, they're like, they're sweeties, but actually what nobody says about Cancers, and I'm a Cancer, I can say this myself, Cancers aren't necessarily like, I actually think that Capricorn is a more maternal sign than Cancer is. Cancer actually wants a Capricorn or whatever, anybody to mommy them. Cancers can be little bitches. Cancers can be really emotionally.
He looks like a little bitch.
He does. He but that's where it's like it really works with him, right? Like, so I think that he actually felt, because the mirror was actually probably measured and correct in whatever way, that Ariana wasn't that safe to him and wasn't that like Cancer Sun, Gemini Moon. Who else has this combination? Khloe Kardashian. So it's like you want to feel safe, you want to feel chosen, you want to feel babied and baby others, but then it's like you also, why does Khloe keep going back with Kristen? I don't know if you saw this week, they went to the party hand in hand this weekend, lol. It's like she actually doesn't mind a little like drama, a little action, because it's like it fills the void of whatever is like going on, like restless inside her. So he's like restless with Ariana, and I think with Raquel, not only is he like, oh my God, this extra thing to think about, which is like not only how to manage having two girlfriends who are on the same TV show, but also which closet to put her in and how to fuck, like there was this provided him a lot of like inner like stuff to figure out, which he loves to do. But then I also think it makes him feel ultimately safer. Like the lawyer letter probably caught him hella off guard too, because I think he felt with Raquel, based on the charts, that she actually was there for the long haul. And that because she built up his sense of status so much, and probably did Virgo Sun, Sag Moon, if anything, she probably was like doing everything she could to care for him, to support him, to show her affection in an actually helpful. I mean, the only clips that I've seen of Raquel so far are of her going like, I'm wearing the merch because I'm a supporter. I'm wearing this because I'm a supporter. Like she's going to go hard on, I'm here to help you and serve you. And Sag Moon usually would need a little adventure, but her passion for this and this whole adventure of getting on the show and then dating her idols and then dating all of the idols and dating everyone on the show, was sort of like, so anyway, I think that they really, I think he was very excited by her. I mean, also he has, well, it doesn't matter, I won't get too into it, but I will say he does have a Pluto Saturn conjunction at the late degrees of Libra. Pluto, the deep underworld, Saturn, the lessons, the boundaries, the restrictions, the reality. He is here demonstrating, and it's trying his North Node. He's really here showing us the underside of relationships and learning hard lessons about what happens when you let the subconscious control more, like when you let the subconscious actually, when you don't handle the unconscious and when you don't do your work and your bad behavior pours out of you, and Saturn in Libra and wrecks relationships because you're not able to keep your dick in your pants or express that you're bored to your partner or whatever. This is his karma. His karma is to actually be exposed for being sort of a demonic member of relationships and actually learn how to actually relate to partners in a responsible way.
He's loving every ounce of this attention, by the way. Every ounce.
Yeah.
At his show, he was exposed by Ariana on Wednesday. The news broke on Friday. At his show on Friday, he went up to the microphone and said, "Have you ever been the most hated person in America?"
Oh my God.
That sounds like something that someone that's remorseful and like shy and like wants to. No, he's so excited that he's probably saving like newspaper clippings. Like, and can you imagine his poor mother? His poor mother.
Now, the last one I want to mention while I still have both of you Bravo heads before me, just to keep the through line alive, I pulled up Lisa Vanderpump's chart. And what is Lisa Vanderpump? A Sun and North Node in Virgo.
Wow.
Who knew? But all of this deceit and imperfection is actually all of it, to whatever degree, is like a Virgo production. You know, it's funny. What they say about Virgos a lot of times is that they present or they try to present really perfectly, but actually in their homes, it's a fucking mess.
Mm-hmm.
That's my dad.
So there's like a private element to Virgos where they want to present, right? Like all the words are edited. There are no typos. We look great out here, but actually behind closed doors, all my socks, I've never matched a sock in my life. And there's like a pizza from last week under the table that I haven't been down to get yet. So
these readings are astounding, by the way. Astounding.
I don't know what
like,
these people are. So
you can buy one from Sarah on her Instagram.
This is I
Don't go to saraharmer.com because it's been taken over by some sort of like Asian casino website, but you can go on her Instagram.
I need to reactivate it and whatever, but I have to design it first. But anyway,
the thing about Vanderpump being a Virgo that's so believable is like her undoing on Housewives was that she was always looked perfect, always kept her nose out of the shit, always was like kept her hands clean, and behind the scenes she was manipulating everyone and pulling the levers and getting dumber people to do her bidding, which was amazing. It made for an incredible show, but she just got caught one too many times. And
it was Brandi Glanville was her undoing because she took such good care of Brandi that she figured this woman will never turn on me. That was her thought.
But her real undoing was Doute with the dog.
Well,
Brandi was 1.0, and then
but no one would have been like, Lisa, finally tell the truth for once, if it hadn't been for all that damage that Brandi did to her reputation.
It was a pattern. Like it happened more than once, and it would have kept happening, even though she already got caught once because Brandi sold her out. She couldn't help but do it again.
Yeah.
Like she just literally could not help herself, which is so funny.
It's such a hard time in her own life. You know, she's losing the loss of her brother and her mother in the same amount of time. And how does she even have the bandwidth to be like, and I'm going to make up a lie about this dog, and I'm going to throw so-and-so under the bus, and I'm going to come out looking amazing. Like it just, none of it computed. And the other thing is she had mentioned that she went on antidepressants as a result. And you can kind of see it in her last season of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. She's not all there, rightfully so, you know, following a traumatic incident like that.
Yeah. Interesting.
I don't know who any of these people are, but what I will say, last thing, Lisa Vanderpump, just to keep this through line alive, she is a Virgo Sun, Cancer Moon. She is inverse Ariana, and it's interesting to me that they both seem to from what you're saying have the same approach to these women, which is like to buddy up with people so hardcore and in a strategic move to go, and they'll be and if I'm so loving and giving to them, they will never betray me. And in fact, it is not the truth.
Exactly.
Wow, so interesting. Where's the mess in this Vanderpump chart? Can you detect it anywhere?
For sure. I mean, the mess, it's really interesting. She has her Chiron at 28 degrees Aquarius. So number one,
oh my God. The
mess is on TV and in managing groups and in broadcasting things that as a Virgo Sun, she wouldn't want to be shared necessarily.
Playing God. She is the child emperor that goes wrong every time. She is like literally plays God and tries to be a producer, and it falls flat. And it was really weird because also watching her on Watch What Happens this week. Like
you almost said crappens.
I know, I almost said crappens. She seems like she had no idea. She was blindsided by this too, which probably pissed her off a lot.
I bet it pissed her off a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, right now is the moment for any of these key players to be crawling up her ass and buddying up to her, because whoever makes good with Lisa is staying on the show and being like, look, Lisa, like Raquel, that would be the one thing. Like, I don't think she would boot Raquel, but like they need to all be massaging Lisa's ego hardcore right now if they want to keep those jobs.
As an executive producer, yes, Lisa, much like the show, is doing a bit of course correction. In addition to bringing old people back, they need to extract Lisa from the drama. What is this woman doing? Going up to her servers and about, oh, who did you sleep with last night? I think your knickers were there. Like, no one talks to their boss like that. It's too much. It's weird. And you can't present her as a restaurant mogul and have her get into the minutia of what her 20-something employees are doing and who they're doing. It was also weird. So this season, they still give her scenes, but one of the reasons they added to her Vanderpump Rules screen time was also because she's no longer on Beverly Hills. So at one point, she's the queen of Bravo. She's got her own show, and she's the queen on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. When she was only on Vanderpump Rules, they were like, oh, well, this is where we'll give people our dose of Lisa, very different audiences.
They need her back on